The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and welcome to our webinar. We're going to have to do a little bit of a different sound check today, which is not so much about whether you can hear me, which of course would be good. So if somebody could confirm that they can hear me, that's first thing. Second thing is really, yes, you can hear me. Can you hear me above the din of the place where I am? Huh? You and other stuff. Yes, that's what I was a bit concerned about. I hope this is all right. I'm in a public space. Yeah, I'm in a public space. Let's just see. So I'm coming close to the mic as much as I can. And I'm going to lean in here like Larry King. So let's see if this will work. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I look like I'm missing the what are they called? The breeches. Yeah. Anyway. So okay. I hope it gets. Yeah. I hope you can handle all the din of clanking plates and so forth. All right. Great. And I'll try to see if I can dominate the sound picture here above it all. So first of all, kindly generate the motivation of bodhicitta, in that what we're doing really has the capacity to remove the cause of the suffering of the world, getting to the bottom of what drives all neurotic action, eliminating neurosis and ignorance at its root, and putting an end to the actions that are driven by that. Then we have here an extraordinary, not only method, but also a culture of methods coming right down from the lineage, which is also why I'm insisting on going through the little bit the lineage here. So we've looked at the various masters down to presently then Jnana Sutra. So we looked at Garab Dorje, Manjushri Mitra, and Sri Singha. Now, Jnana Sutra is very often mentioned in conjunction with Vimala Mitra. And, well, first of all, Jnana Sutra, as we can see here then, what I do here is I extract sort of from Nyosho Khenpo's life story and also Chukutundrup's. So you can, if you want to read the more extensive life stories, you can find them in these places. Anyway, Jnana Sutra was, according to the narrative we have, he was born in a low caste family, and nevertheless was somebody who then excelled in his studies. And he was among the learned panditas at what we must have had, some college or monastery and so forth in present-day Bodh Gaya, which incidentally is also the picture that we have here. This is the Bodh Gaya stupa in Bihar, in India. This is where we say generally that all the 1,002 Buddhas of this, what we call the fortunate eon, they all attain enlightenment here. And, this place actually was not that visited and was somewhat in disrepair until the mid-19th century, where this Englishman who became a Buddhist, his ordination name then was Dharmapala, he was key in restoring the stupa, and the Mahabodhi stupa, or the Mahabodhi temple as we have it now, is actually thanks to this Englishman Dharmapala. And of course nowadays it's very visited and developed and so on. But even when I went there first time in 1975, it was very simple and very unvisited, well, not entirely unvisited, but very different from what it is now. Anyway, this is where Jnana Sutra, and also together with Vimala Mitra, they were panditas. And one day when they were out walking, they jointly received a vision of, sometimes we say Avalokiteshvara, sometimes we say Vajrasattva. But anyway, in there Vajrasattva says, for 500 lifetimes you have been born as scholars. If you wish to attain the ultimate goal of the path, liberation, go and study with Sri Singha in China. And so actually the funny thing is Vimalamitra went first, but as he received the teachings from Sri Singha, eventually Sri Singha asked him, are you satisfied with everything you received? And Vimalamitra says, yes, I am. And undoubtedly he was greatly accomplished, and he returned then to India, and that's where he met Janasutra again and said to him, you should go and receive the teachings from Sri Singha, which then Janasutra, also based on the previous vision they had had, then Janasutra proceeded to go and receive teachings from Sri Singha. But on several occasions Sri Singha says, are you happy with the teachings you received? He says, yes, but I'd like more. And he actually bluntly said, no, I'm not satisfied, to the extent that Sri Singha ended up giving him all the transmissions, and what we nowadays refer to as Nyingtik, or the heart essence teachings, were not given to Vimalamitra, but they were given to Janasutra. Then Janasutra went back to India, and during that time Vimalamitra had a vision of Janasutra. Vimalamitra was practicing in charnel grounds, and the descriptions of these yogic exercises he was doing is quite extraordinary. But at that time then, in a vision, it was said he should go and receive the final teachings of the heart essence from Janasutra, and he then did that. So that's then, that was then, Janasutra passed these teachings on to Vimalamitra, and then dissolved his body into the rainbow light. So like I said, you can read more detail in A Garland of Rare Gems by Nyoshu Rinpoche, and also in Masters of Miracles and Meditation by Ngondro, and also in Dunjum Rinpoche's History of the Nyingma Tradition. Okay? So here we are then in the present study of the Guru Yoga of the Longchen Nyingtik, Chidrup Yishin Nobu, the wish granting gem. And so we've looked at the introduction, understanding the significance of the practice of Guru Yoga, and we've looked at the visualization, which is visualizing the environment in terms of its actual nature, where visualization, we should understand, is where we see things as they are, even though we might not be able to perceive the purity of phenomena. We know that it's there, and so we visualize it as it is. And we say it's a bit like when we have jaundice or some liver illness that makes us see everything as yellow. If we look at a white conch or a white piece of paper, then even though we don't see it as white, we actually presently see it as yellow, then we know it's white. And so we visualize, you could say, the conch. If somebody asks us, what's that color of the conch? We don't see. You could say, well, I see it as yellow, but I know it's white. Then similarly, we could also say with the visualizations we have in the Vajrayana, somebody says, what's the nature of your reality like? We could say, well, I perceive the environment according to my karmic projection, but I know it's intrinsically pure. And then they would say, how about yourself? And then you would say, well, I perceive myself according to my karmic projection, but innately I am the deity. Innately I am the Buddha. Innately I'm unobscured. And that's exactly what we're doing then. We visualize the environment as a pure realm. We're seeing ourselves as Vajrayogini. And in front, we visualize Padmasambhava, who embodies the one that cures us of the delusion. The teacher is the one who, on the basis of teaching us, empowering us, and so forth, enables us to be free of the delusion that drives the suffering of samsara. And this is not just an academic approach, but this is something that is transmitted. This curing of our delusion takes place on the basis of our accumulation of merit, our purification, and so forth. All these conditions, and particularly on the basis of devotion, that which takes us beyond the dualistic, ordinary, conceptual mind. And so in the practice of the Guru Yoga, we are going to be sustaining this visualization of ourselves as Vajrayogini and the teacher in front in the form of Padmasambhava. And the emphasis is this devotion invoking of the teacher. So we're going to begin with the prayer that we spoke about last time, which is the so-called 7-line supplication, which in here it says, when a disciple calls upon me, Guru Rinpoche said, when a disciple calls upon me, okay, let's see here. Oh, yeah. Putting the recorder on top of the touchpad is asking for trouble. So Guru Rinpoche said, when a disciple calls upon me with devotion and the yearning song of the 7-line prayer, I shall come from Sangdopari, like a mother who cannot resist the call of her child. So presently we have this situation of having connected with the lineage of Guru Padmasambhava. All the various chants that we have, they're not random. We would say they're the resounding of the Dhammata, in the sense that these are not words that were blurted out on the basis of karmas and kleshas. They arose free from such delusion, and so the purity of the syllables and the sounds themselves, that's on one hand, and also the compassion then of Guru Padmasambhava and all the masters of the lineage, as well as our devotion, creates the auspicious conditions then for this having a deep impact in terms of our being. So we chant this, and in the Longchen Nyingtik Ngondro, there's a few things we're going to be doing. We're going to be chanting this, and traditionally we would do this 100,000 times. In the Ngondro Ga, you do this 120 hours. Then we have the 7-branch prayer that we do with prostration, or the 7-branch. What is it again? Sometimes we say the 7-branch office or 7-branch service. I like the word puja, actually. Sevenfold puja. And then we have a short devotional supplication that we also do. So each of these three, the 7-line supplication, the 7-branch puja, and the short devotional supplication, each of these we do 120 hours in the Ngondro Ga. So some of you might be doing Dharma Ga, and some of you might be doing it in other contexts, and some of you might just very sensibly have completed your Ngondro and still do this, which is so valuable. And of course, Guru Yoga is what we keep doing endlessly. And so after we've done that, then we also do the chanting of mantra, receiving of empowerment, and so forth. So, okay. So I still hope the sound is all right here. So the prayer begins with the letter Hum, or Hum, which is the seed syllable of the heart wisdom of all the Buddhas. Again, the mantras that we have, they're not ordinary sounds, but they are the resounding of the innate reality, Dhammata. And so all the mantras, they have that quality. You could say something that just like yoga sort of touches the uncorrupted energy innate to us. So it continues saying Ujinul Kinuptan Sam. Now, let me just say that there's a very beautiful commentary called the White Lotus Commentary. It's been translated by the Padmakara Translation Group, and it's a translation of a work by Jamgon Mipam Rinpoche. And in there, this 7-line supplication is explained according to what we call the outer and its inner aspects. And in the inner aspects, we have various ways of explaining this. So today here, Khyentse Rinpoche is teaching according to the outer aspect, but also I'm going to mention a little bit about the inner aspect as well. So it says Ujin Yuki Nupton Sam, the first line, which means at the northwest border of the land of Udayana. Now in this lake there are 4 lakes, one in each of the 4 directions. It is in the lake situated in the northwest corner, known as Dhanakosha, that Guru Rinpoche manifested in this world. Actually, I went to Pakistan, to the Swat Valley, trying to find this lake. I'm afraid no such fortune. There have been a few people who sort of indicate that they think they've found the lake, but we don't really have any certainty about that. Anyway, of course, this is also according to the karmic dispositions of the fortunate ones. But this is how it's described. And so then it says, in regards to the lake, this lake, Dana Kosha, in Sanskrit, Dana means wealth and Kosha means treasury. So that's where we say on the northwest border of the land of Udayana, that's where we say Guru Rinpoche was born in this lake. Now, when we talk about this Udayana lake, now Udayana then, like I was saying, this is generally asserted to be the Swat Valley in Pakistan, which was part of India. And it is indeed northwest. Even to this day, we call it the Northwest Frontier Province in Pakistan. And that was also the name it had during the Raj, the time when the English were there. But you see, when we talk about this land, yes, on the outer level, this place. On the inner level, however, we refer to this Udayana as the mind. And the mind has the qualities of confusion and non-confusion. Sentient beings caught in confusion. And that's associated with what we call the West. Now, those who are familiar with Shambhala training, you will know that we talk about the Great Eastern Sun. In the east, the sun rises, whereas in the west, where the sun sets, that's a little bit associated with lacking in prosperity, depression, basically the sinking quality. Trungpa Rinpoche makes a little bit sort of poking at the sort of the sunset lovers as being, or the sort of the notion of setting sun as being sort of the habitual way of the unawake mind, whereas the east is the place of rising. That's the awakening. So we associate the west with the samsara, and north, and there's also some quotes from sutras, is associated with liberation and enlightenment. To go north. So Guru Rinpoche, his nature is such that it falls into neither. The primordial ground of our being is neither samsara or nirvana. It's untouched by any such constructs. And so in that sense, we would say Padmasambhava abiding on the northwest border, meaning it's neither in the west nor it is in the north. That place is the place of enlightenment. And then we say, the second line, Pema Gesar Dompo La, means on the pistil of the lotus blossom. In the Danakosha lake, there are innumerable lotuses of the 5 colors. Since Guru Rinpoche belongs to the speech or lotus family, the family of Amitabha, whose color is red, he manifested in the middle of the lake upon the pistil of a red lotus. So this is how we normally think of Guru Rinpoche. You have tankas, actually beautiful tankas, where you see him as a young child sitting in this red lotus. But on the inner level, then, we would say the lotus has actually 3 aspects. There's the pistil, and then there's the flower itself, the lotus petals, and in the middle you have the pistil, what do you call it? Oh yeah, the pistils, actually, the bed. So you have the stem, the stamen, then you have the petals, and in the middle you have the pistils. Remember, whenever you see these pictures of deities, they're sitting on the lotus flower and on the seat of essentially the pistils, so the bed of, in the middle. So note these 3 aspects. We would say that this also refers to on the primordial ground, this purity. Then we have the lotus petals. They symbolize the emptiness nature. It's intangible, this nature, and yet out of compassion there is a manifestation, and that's then the pistils in the middle. And yet these 2 are not separate, so they're held together by the stamen or the stem. So this also refers to the unity of appearance and emptiness. So that's the inner meaning, and of course it's formulated very beautifully by Jamgon Mipam in his White Lotus commentary. The third line, Yamsen Chukingmu Rupnye, means the marvelous one who has attained the supreme accomplishment. So, and this is also indicative of us approaching Vajrayana in that we are approaching the nature which is unconditional. So Khyentse Rinpoche goes on to say, Guru Rinpoche was not born from causes and conditions or from the seeds of a mother and father, but as we have said, arose spontaneously from the red lotus in the form of the seed syllable Shri, as a manifestation of pure awareness from the heart of Amitabha. The Shri then melted into light, transforming into the aspect of an ever youthful 8-year-old child with radiant countenance and the 32 major and 18 minor marks of a Buddha. He thus appeared in our universe amidst rainbows, a rain of flowers, thrown by all the Buddhas of the 10 directions, celestial music, and melodious songs of praise, sung by the countless Dakas and Dakinis who filled the sky. So here, this image of Guru Rinpoche's birth invites this appreciation of Padmasambhava's already perfect nature, and manifesting according to the merit of sentient beings in this world. Then, as someone who would teach Vajrayana, he was not very often. And this is a point, of course, Trungpa Rinpoche makes in that text I've uploaded to the Dropbox folder. Please read that. It's called Primordial Innocence in Padmasambhava. You see, Padmasambhava teaching the resultant vehicle, you could say that bypasses the ordinary conventions of the gradual vehicle. And so, where we normally think, gradually you become wiser, and that enlightenment is something that comes as experience, you've been through a lot. Then Padmasambhava is this untouched child that is spontaneously there as enlightened. And that, of course, also is indicative of our own nature, which is at all times this unconditional, ever youthful quality. And so, for example, in Great Perfection, we talk about the youthful vase body, and sometimes we refer to some of the bodhisattvas in terms of youthfulness and so forth. And this doesn't have anything to do with our ordinary conception of youth, but more has to do with this unconditional quality that's beyond birth and death, beyond youth and decay, and so forth. So in this way, Padmasambhava manifests, and we say here, he possesses the supreme accomplishment. So again, this refers to this nature that is unconfused, undiluted from the very origins. The fourth line, Pema Juna Shisucha, renowned as the lotus-born Guru Rinpoche, the ultimate and undeceiving object of refuge, is renowned throughout the infinity of Buddha fields as the Guru born from the lotus. Again, this nature then is known as that which is unstained by confusion as the lotus. So this is again referring to this unconditional nature. Now, the fifth line, Koto Khandra Mambakor, means surrounded by a retinue of many dakinis. Wherever Guru Rinpoche manifests, he unfolds and expounds the teachings of the secret Mantrayana or Vajrayana. Since the dakinis are those who both hear and hold these teachings, Guru Rinpoche is always surrounded by a gathering of dakinis. Okay, so on the outer level, we would say the dakinis are the Vajrayana Sangha, Dakas and dakinis. But we generally refer to the dakinis, and if you look in the life story of many of the siddhas of India, for example, Tilopa, they received the Vajrayana teachings from the dakinis. And very often we understand the Vajrayana Sangha in terms of dakinis. And what's interesting, actually, and this is of course on my own experience, and I might have mentioned this before, in Udayana, which I did visit, people actually talk about a race of beings. This sounds a little bit unusual. It's certainly not something that's generally talked about, but these fairies, that's like they refer to them, that seem to be there living in the hills around, and as such, still in this place, there is talk about the Dakinis, which I think is very interesting, and which, if any of you are young Buddhist anthropologists, I would say go out and check this out. This, I think, could be very interesting. Anyway, or if you're Buddhologists or whatever, or anyway, it's something that actually hasn't really been discussed. Now, on the inner level, then we would say that the Dakinis is the display. Now, the primordial nature then is not just blank, but it has the capacity of manifestation. So we have the entire array of experience, which we have, right? Right now you're hearing, you're seeing, and all of that. So this nature is not blank. So in this way, we would say all that manifests within this pure condition is referred to as Dakinis. So we'd say the pure condition, Padmasambhava, is surrounded by Dakinis in the sense that the original nature is manifesting. In the sixth line, we pray, following in your footsteps, I myself will become accomplished. At present, owing to our ignorance, we are wandering helplessly among the delusions and sufferings of samsara. The only way out of this situation is to receive the profound instructions of the secret mantrayana and to put them into practice. Thus, in order to clear away our ignorance, we invite Guru Rinpoche with our supplication to come and give us the blessings and empowerments and instructions we need to enable us to follow him on the path and accomplish as he has the supreme realization. Obscured by karma and the force of negative emotions, and submerged in ignorance, we are at this moment drowning in the ocean of suffering. If we fail to rely on an extraordinary being like Guru Rinpoche, who is himself free from this ocean, then there is no way for us to be delivered from this misery and confusion. So presently we have the fortune of having met the teacher who is able to provide the entire guidance on the path, particularly grant blessings, empowerments, and instructions. So right now we have this unique opportunity. And similarly also then we here refer to this in the outer way of the general need for us to invoke Padmasambhava. You know, Kyabje Dilgo is the commitment to perfecting the path. And again, in the absolute, then this is understood as not falling into delusion, simply sustaining this undistracted recognition of the absolute Guru Rinpoche. Then we refer to that as following in your footsteps. But whichever way we approach this, whether it's approaching this in the conventional sense of practice or in the absolute sense of sustaining this condition of wisdom, then this is following in the footsteps of Padmasambhava. And so we presently recognize the need for us to this is that we have this extraordinary condition right now. The seventh line, Chinchi Lopchi Sheksa Son, please come and bless me. When through our entreaties Guru Rinpoche comes and bestows upon us the blessing of his body, speech, and mind, we're enabled to achieve realization. As the gilding of a statue makes it even more beautiful and precious, so our own body, speech, and mind, when blessed by the body, speech, and mind of Guru Rinpoche, becomes better able to achieve the supreme accomplishment. So we invoke Guru Rinpoche again because we temporarily have the notion that we are confused, imperfect, and out there the teacher is that which embodies perfection and so forth. Ultimately, then this nature being our nature being innately inseparable from Guru Rinpoche, it's sustaining this recognition, which is the practice of invoking Guru Padmasambhava. But however we choose to do it, whether we're invoking Guru Rinpoche with the notion of the Guru being external or innately inseparable from ourselves, then the very practice of sustaining this is what transforms our body, speech, and mind. Our being, our physical being, speech, and mind is transformed then through this, through the invoking of the Guru Rinpoche, his outer and inner form. The prayer closes with the mantra Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Guru is a Sanskrit word which literally means heavy. It was translated into Tibetan as Lama, which literally means unsurpassable. Heavy shows that the Guru is heavy with good qualities, and that to transgress his instructions will bring heavy consequences. Guru Rinpoche is the quintessence, the complete union of all the wisdom, loving kindness, and abilities of the Buddhas of the three times. Thus, he's full of innumerable enlightened qualities. We call him Guru, heavy. Actually, also in ordinary life, we do have this perception of persons who possess, in Latin we call it pondus, weight. It means there's authenticity, there's genuine quality that brings with it a sense of strength and weight. Somebody with a heavy weight, somebody who has this quality, not just physically, but you could say in terms of their being, which is almost perceptible in others. So there are questions here. Let me just go through them. Okay, the interference is too loud to understand you. Will you please post an explanation without the screeching background? We are signing off. Okay. All right. So I guess the noise is there's not much I can do about it. It's just the environment here. Anyway, I think probably I'm recording this, so the audio should be okay. It sounds like there is another webinar in the background. Yeah. Why? Do you mind showing the previous page for just a second? Well, I wouldn't know what that is, but yeah. I hope all of you have the book. So if there's something that you missed, please refer to your own copies. Can you please recite the 7 line so we can catch the pronunciation? Sure. Ujen yulki nupchan sam pema kesar dombola yamsen choki ngudru nye pema jone shesutra kortu kandro mangpe korla keki jesu dhatupji chinchi lopchi sheksu sol guru pema siddhi hung. So look, I can upload a recording of that. And then I'm glad to hear that some other people are saying, I can understand you. Your voice is very clear. No worries. Sound is okay for me. Okay? I can hear. It's okay. Situations like this happen. Okay, good. I'm glad. Okay. What's the video like? Yeah, the video seems okay. Okay, dokie. Okay. So let's see here. So yes, the Sanskrit word, so that's guru, then padma, usually used in Tibetan and pronounced pema. Okay, so nowadays you have some Tibetans themselves are very insistent that we pronounce it according to the Sanskrit, but they will themselves stick with their Tibetan. So you have sort of either, I think it's okay. Pema means lotus. It refers to Padmasambhava's name. As an emanation of the heart of the Buddha Amitabha, Guru Rinpoche belongs to the lotus or speech family of Buddhas and is himself a Vijayadhara or awareness holder of this Buddha family. Also, he was born in the heart of the lotus. The Sanskrit siddhi or Tibetan ngudrup can be understood in English as true accomplishment. Hung is the seed syllable of the mind of all the Buddhas, and as all the Buddhas are embodied in him, it is especially the seed syllable of Guru Rinpoche. Thus, when at the end of the prayer we say Siddhi Hum, we're asking him to grant us all the accomplishments, both common and supreme. So the Hum kind of turns this Siddhi into the requesting for accomplishment. And then also we sometimes refer to on the inner level, we would say the Guru is like the Dharmakaya, the Pema is like the Sambhogakaya, and the Siddhi is like the Nyamanakaya. or we would say Guru is like the undiluted nature, the Pema. So the Guru is like the undiluted nature, Pema are like the character and the luminous qualities that are innate, and the Siddhi are all the everything that appears inseparable from this nature within the non-dual display of our experience. So this is how we also can understand the inner nature of Guru, Pema, Siddhi, and then Hong, invoking this. If we recite this prayer with deep devotion again and again, there is no doubt that we will receive the blessings. We should develop unshakable confidence that, in answer to our invocation and invitation, Guru Rinpoche will actually come to us from the paradise of the glorious copper-colored mountain. So, in this way, we, on the basis of our particular karmic connection to the Nyingma lineage and the lineage of Padmasambhava, which actually is not just the Nyingma culture, but in fact all lineages of Tibetan Buddhism, even the Bonpos actually, we would say, all are blessed by Padmasambhava. So with our connection then to the Vajrayana lineage, then we should consider that Guru Rinpoche is present, and also particularly or more general, we would say anytime that we think of the Enlightened One, the Buddha, or Guru Rinpoche, our own teacher, and so forth, the blessing with our devotion and the compassion of the teacher, then the blessing is present. Having visualized ourselves as Vajrayogini, we should think that another Vajrayogini, identical to ourselves, approaches us from the sky. Upon her head, just as upon our own head, is Guru Rinpoche, surrounded by the 8 Vidyadharas of India, his 25 Tibetan heart disciples, and a cloud-like retinue, dark as the kings, lamas, yidams, protectors, and so forth. Vajrayogini, Guru Rinpoche, and the rest descend upon us and dissolve into us. Vajrayogini dissolves into Vajrayogini, and Guru Rinpoche dissolves into Guru Rinpoche, and the vast retinue into the vast retinue. Looking up at him with complete devotion, we should believe without the slightest doubt that Guru Rinpoche himself is there upon our heads, and that will bestow his blessings on us. So this is also something we do in all Vajrayana sadhana. When we have the invocation, we consider that the deities dissolve into us according to whatever we are visualizing ourselves as. So having visualized one Guru Rinpoche above our heads, we have invited another to come and dissolve into the first one. This first Guru Rinpoche is called the Samaya Sattva, and Guru Rinpoche, who comes to us from his Buddha field, is called the Jhana Sattva. When the Jhana Sattva melts into the Samaya Sattva, it is as if milk has been poured into water. The two blend so intimately that it's impossible to distinguish between them, and the water becomes enriched and more delicious than before. In the same way, when we invite Guru Rinpoche to dissolve into the one we have visualized above our head, we should think that his blessing, compassion, and wisdom are even more intensely present and immense. So, when we do visualization, we think of ourselves as a deity, and we are recognizing the innate deity that we are ultimately, but we might have some doubts and thinking that out there there are Buddhas that are more sublime than we are. And so invoking them, considering that the real deal is out there, we have this practice of inviting the Jhana Sattva, and that's what we visualize here. And we should then use that as the catalyst for us then sustaining confidence in our pure nature. And that's where when the Jhana Sattva melts into the Samaya Sattva, we should consider our being now has been permeated by the wisdom and rest and confidence in that. So it's like milk pouring into water. Incidentally, spending time with some Tibetans, I picked up the habit myself of something the Tibetans call water tea, chucha, which is actually heated water with plenty of milk in it, which is a Tibetan delicacy that some people find a bit odd. But anyway, I can reassure you, very difficult to separate the milk from the water. And similarly also when we do this practice, we should then sustain this sense that there's no difference between our being and the wisdom. Okay. So I'm glad to hear a few people are expressing that this is actually, you can actually hear, so I'm glad. Okay, so that's the, so now we're going to come to the sevenfold puja, or the 7 branches. Are we doing for time? Yeah, we're good. In order to receive the blessings of Guru Rinpoche, we should also complete the accumulations of merit and wisdom. Now, some of you probably remember this famous line that we have from somewhere in the Tantras, from one of the Indian Mahasiddhas, that says, recognize that without the accumulation of merit and purification and the blessing of a qualified guru, to think that one could recognize the co-emergent wisdom would be foolish. So the entire Ngondro actually provides the context for our accumulation of merit and wisdom. And then here, within the context of the Guru Yoga, there is then the possibility of this blessing on the basis of our devotion. So all the foundation that is then required for this engaging the co-emergent wisdom, which we do in the Vajrayana, in the form of the various yogas, according to the 4 empowerments, all of these conditions are complete. But still, within the Guru Yoga, we're going to be engaging the accumulation of merit and wisdom on the basis of the 7 branch prayer presently. And this is even heard up in northern Illawarra. Oh, that's good. That's good. So, according to ordinary custom, when greeting an important person, we offer him or her some token of our respect, some form of deference, which, such as a bow, a comfortable place to sit, and then some delicious things to eat and drink. Similarly, but on a loftier plane, when we invite the lotus-born guru from his Buddha field, we make offerings to him. In general, there is inconceivable great merit in making offerings to the Buddhas. It is said, however, that to offer just a single drop of oil to a single pore of the body of the Guru has more merits and benefit than to make infinite offerings to all the Buddhas. In particular, if we make offerings prostrations or the confessions of fault in front of the Guru, the merit and benefit will be greatly enhanced, and the purification of our obscurations and defilements swifter. So if you're doing the Longchen Yingtik Ngondro then, and you're doing the practice of Guru Yoga, if you completed the other sections and now you're focusing on the Guru Yoga itself, this is the place where then again we engage in the physical yoga of prostration. So this is something that actually engages our body in many, many ways. And so, for example, yogis in retreats, they would do prostrations daily. And it's not something which is just regarded as something you have to get done, but it's something that continually we do. When we enter a temple, we might not do full prostration, but we always do this practice of bowing. So, and just a few more things about that. Us in the modern world, we kind of think to bow down. It's sort of defeating our egalitarian and democratic rights. And in fact, it's the opposite, because when we're bowing down, we actually are expressing an openness, and that openness enables the qualities of the other to mingle within ourselves, basically on the premise that for us to recognize quality in somebody else actually comes from our own purity. And so in acknowledging the purity of the other, the qualities of the other, we're empowering this inner quality that we possess ourselves. Like if you're truly rejoicing in something beautiful someone else has created, well, then you're already, you could say, empowering this capacity within yourself. But if you say, oh, they've done that, and sort of externalize it, maybe even resent it and so forth, just leave it out there, not doing anything, you're not engaging in any way, it's not really doing much. So this extending ourselves Even when we shake hands, actually we're already welcoming somebody into us. And in this case, of course, the ultimate objective of the path is the realization of the non-dual co-emergent wisdom that we naturally are born with. And so for us to acknowledge this as it's fully manifest in the other is creating the conditions for us developing this within ourselves. So despite what it looked like, it's anything but hierarchical. It's anything but being objectifying the other, but rather it's a way of dissolving this objectification, or this dissolves the externalization of the field of refuge. And so here then, we are doing just that, a lot of it. So even if we've already done prostrations, we do it again here. The Longten Inti Ngondro, you do prostrations. Traditionally, you do it 100,000 times twice. Here, then, we do it 120 hours. So we do the 7-line supplication 120 hours. We do this 7-branch, 7-fold puja, 7 branches. We do that, and while we're chanting it, we actually continually do the prostrations. So here, Rinpoche says, visualizing ourselves as Vajrayogini, we now emanate second Vajrayogini, who, with Guru Rinpoche dwelling on the crown of her head, stands before us. From ourselves, we then emanate bodies as numerous as the particles of dust in the universe. We and all our emanations, joined by all beings of the universe, begin to offer prostrations to Guru Rinpoche and chant the refuge prayer in union. Okay, so you visualize, you're seated, you're visualizing yourself as Vajrayogini with Guru Rinpoche on the crown of the head. And then you also emanate a second Vajrayogini, also as Guru Rinpoche on the crown of our head. Now you're still Vajrayogini, right? But you're not going to do prostrations and bow down as Vajrayogini and with Guru Rinpoche on the crown of your head, simply because that represents the already perfected nature. Rather, you emanate an ordinary body. So, however you are, you emanate that, and you then consider that is the body that's doing it. However, it is then also you doing it with us, doing it with our body, that we then do the prostrations, and then we say, we do some form of deference, such as a bow, a comfortable place to sit. Hold on. We emanate bodies as numerous, not just ourselves, but countless forms of ourselves, as numerous as the particles of dust in the universe. We and all our emanations, joined by all the beings of the universe, begin to offer prostrations to Guru Rinpoche and chant the refuge prayer in unison. To make prostrations, we should begin by standing in a well-balanced position. We join the palms of our hands together, cupping them slightly to form the shape of a lotus bud ready to bloom, symbolizing the generation of bodhicitta. We then place our joined hands at the level of the forehead, thinking that we pay homage to the body, speech, but you do, yeah. You probably all know how to do this. So let's see here. So we place our joined hands at the forehead, thinking I pay homage to the body aspect of all the Buddhas. Here we're purifying all the obscurations and negative actions of the body. We then bring our joined hands to the level of the throat, thinking I pay homage to the speech aspect of all the Buddhas. Here all our obscurations and defilements connected with speech are purified. Bringing our joined hands to the level of the heart, we think, I pay homage to the mind aspect of all the Buddhas. Here our obscurations and negative emotions are purified. Through this series of gestures and thoughts, we receive the blessings of the body, speech, and mind of all the Buddhas. When we make the prostration, touching the ground at 5 points, with our forehead, 2 hands, and 2 knees, we should think that in this way we pay homage to the 5 Buddha families, and this way we transform the 5 poisons into the 5 wisdoms. So we could go down on our hands and knees and touch the forehead. We could also do the full prostration. Khyentse Rinpoche says the full prostration known as the prostration of devotion, done by stretching out flat on the ground with arms and legs fully extended, brings even greater benefits and a swifter purification. As we rise from this full prostrations, our hands sliding back along the ground, we should think that we are taking up into ourselves the suffering of all beings. We use our body to make physical prostration, our speech to recite the prayer of the 7 branches, and our mind to visualize Guru Rinpoche in front of us, surrounded by his cloud-like retinue. We should practice mindfulness with respect to each of these aspects, striving to maintain clarity and precision in the visualization, awareness of the meaning of the recitation, and attention to the body so that it performs with balance, propriety, poise, and discipline. So of course we don't have to do this all at once, but as we're doing it, we sometimes focus on the visualization, sometimes focusing on thinking that we're bringing with us. As we rise up, we're taking all the freeing beings from suffering, sometimes thinking about how the 5 points correspond to the 5, to purifying the 5 poisons, that's the 5 wisdoms, etc. There are 3 levels to the prostration practice. At the highest level, we recognize the view of the absolute nature, the essence of Buddhahood. This recognition is itself the most profound and reverent prostration. So that is ultimately the goal. Like I said before, when we're doing prostrations, it's not to objectify, but it's to dissolve this duality. And in that sense, if we sustain that, then there's no higher way to actually bow down to the nature. There's a story in the life of Guru Padmasambhava when he went to see his teacher. And the first time he went there, he bowed physically to his teacher and Sri Singha. Guru Rinpoche also studied with Sri Singha. And at that time, Sri Singha was sort of mildly pleased. But when Guru Rinpoche had actually attained recognition and came back in front of Sri Singha, he didn't do any physical gestures. He just sustained that recognition and said that Sri Singha was immensely pleased by that. Now, at the intermediate level, we blend our meditation with the act of prostration as we visualize an infinity of beings and emanations of ourselves making prostrations together. So that's the intermediate level. At the ordinary level, we perform the prostration with mindfulness and faith. So, I think I might leave it at that. And so let's just, maybe there's a few more lines. Hold on. It said that in the performance of a single prostration, there is enough merit to ensure as many births in the form of a universal monarch as there are particles of dust beneath our outstretched body. Now, the universal monarch is, you could say, the highest within the samsaric condition that you could ever have. Like, without being enlightened, the highest development of a karmic condition is being what we call the universal emperor, the owner of the universe. That's as good as it gets in samsara, sort of on an ordinary, conventional level. And so that's the universal monarch embodies the consummate relative merit. So on the basis of that, then we could have just doing one prostration gives merit for as many births in the form of a universal monarch as there are particles of dust beneath our outstretched body. So it's definitely worth doing. It's a good investment. This is because genuine humility is the open door to all greatness of being, while pride, the fortress of the ego, completely prevents the blessing of the Buddhas from entering us, thus forestalling any progress on the path. And that, I think, we also recognize there's nothing more pathetic when there is greatness, and then there are those who sort of hold back on the basis of pride or arrogance, and sort of don't want to bow down or even express recognition or rejoicing and so forth, right? So that's exactly what we wish to overcome. When there is not that holding back, when there's not that arrogance, then there is the possibility that something can transpire. There's that essentially empowering that within. There's a very rich condition in an individual who can acknowledge greatness. There's a rather poverty-stricken condition in an individual that refuses to see greatness. So for us to be able to receive the blessings, we express this profound appreciation through the gesture of prostration. Okay. See if there's any question. Okay, there's some practical questions here. Yoga is actually prostrations and reciting 7-line prayer at the same time. No, in this point, when we're doing the we're doing not the 7-line prayer, but we're doing what we call the 7 branches. So yes, we recite that as we're doing the prostrations. Please clarify. So I visualize my body as Vajrayogini. Yes, and visualize another of my ordinary form in front of me. No, we're visualizing ourselves as Vajrayogini and Guru Rinpoche. Then we have another visualization in front that is then the object of our prostration. And then ourselves as Vajrayogini, we emanate our ordinary form, which is then also the ordinary form that's going to do the work, the prostration, which we then do the prostrations with. Yeah? So we consider that there's Vajrayogini and Guru Rinpoche in front of us as the object of our prostrations. And yeah, and then we do the prostrations in our ordinary form, which we consider has been emanated by Vajrayogini. Actually, if you read the text, it'll clarify it. It's a little bit funny way of thinking. It's not how we normally think of things, but this is how we're doing it here. So I've seen that Trilin Rinpoche also wrote a commentary about the 7 lines. It's called the Soul Panacea, a brief commentary. That's right. That is right. Yes, Trilin Rinpoche wrote that, and please look at that also. And it's published. Yes, somewhere I have it as a Kindle, and yes, it's a published work. So valuable. But of course, Trilin Rinpoche is also basically summarizing Jakob Rinpoche's commentary. Okay. No other questions? Few people expressed their appreciation for being here. Thank you very much. And I apologize for the din around, but it seems that we've managed somewhat. So I hope it's all right. Thank you. Through this virtue, may all beings throughout existence awaken together, without a single being left behind. In the pure realm of the luminous essence, the ground of the great perfection, may they remain inseparable from the kayas and wisdoms. Through all our births, wherever we may be born, may we be endowed with the 7 good qualities of the higher realms. As soon as we are born, may we meet with the Dharma and have the freedom to practice it properly. At that time, may we please the holy gurus and practice the Dharma throughout the day and night. Realizing the Dharma and accomplishing its essential meaning, may we cross the ocean of existence in that life. Thoroughly teaching the holy Dharma in this world, may we never tire of accomplishing the benefit of others. By this vast benefit of others, without partiality or bias, may all attain Buddhahood together.